and welcome to Tony Robbins' Day to Become Unshakable, the best bits. Everyone, my name is Emily Joan Smith. If you do not know me, I am a life coach and a YouTuber. I make videos on mental health, self-development, personal growth, travel, everything like that. So if you do enjoy that sort of thing, then please make sure you hit the subscribe button now and press like if you are feeling kind, because it means a lot to me. Tony Robbins started off by talking about emotional fitness. Not emotional intelligence, that's different. Emotional fitness. To train your emotional fitness so it is there for you when you need it. He started off by talking about fear and how being unshakable does not mean that you are never fearless. It does not mean that you never get scared. It means that you do it anyway. The thing with our brain is it is around 2 million years old. When the brain started out, it had to be there to protect us. If there was a saber-toothed tiger around the corner waiting to kill us and come at us, we had to be prepared. Our brain is there to keep us alive. It is there to make us survive. Our brain is there for us to survive, not thrive. Our brain is there to keep us alive, not for happiness. We have to create the happiness part because our brain is chemically, genetically, whatever word you want to call it, has been made over the years to help us stay alive. And it now doesn't know the difference between a saber-toothed tiger and us getting a scary call from a boss or going out on the first date or asking for a promotion. It does not know the difference. Tony gave us a little recap about what we learned on day one. And if you do not know what we learned on day one, please check out my day one video on my takeaways on that. But it was mainly about patterns and how life itself has patterns. We go through seasons in life of winter, summer, spring. And currently, not literally, but currently, theoretically, we are in winter. Winter can last for years, it can last for months, it can last for however long, but we are currently in winter. And what some people do is they hide away and they hibernate. And what others do is when it's winter, they learn to skate, they learn to ski, they learn to snowboard, they learn to do all those things. Because spring, when spring comes along, as it always does, it will be better for everyone, but it's better to get your stuff together whilst we're in winter. One of my favorite sayings, quotes, whatever you want to call it, patterns that Tony mentions a bit is how weak people make bad times. Bad times make strong people. Strong people make great times, and great times make weak people. And it's a constant loop. Day 2 was all about state and all about energy, all about identity. Because to change our identity, which is the important thing that we need to change, we have to be in a higher state. We have to be in a higher energy. The identity was the main part of this session. An identity is how you define yourself. And the thing about identities and human beings is it is the strongest force to a human being to remain aligned to how they identify themselves. When you say I am and say something after the words I am, you are identifying yourselves as something. And once you truly believe it within yourself, you will go out your way to prove your identity right. You will go back through your life and pick out all the things that happened in your life to prove that you are right when it comes to your identity. It is so important because whatever you follow I am with, your identity, you become. You self-prophesize. Identities are beliefs, and beliefs are so important. For example, it's not about the beliefs just about ourselves, it's what we believe about the world itself. For example, when I say life is, what do you fill the gap with? Life is hard. Life is a battle. Life is a struggle. If you fill it with that kind of energy, how do you think you're going to show up in the world if you believe life is hard? Are you going to show up in the world with confidence? Are you going to show up in the world with positivity or optimism? Are you going to show up in the world? How are you going to show up in the world? Whereas if you believe life is a dance, life is beautiful, life is for me, life is whatever, then how would you show up in the world if you believe that? For example, when I think of life is a dance, I think it's playful, it's fun, it can be done alone, it can be done with others. It's so much easier than life is a constant battle. If you believe life is something, you are going to find brown everywhere. If you believe something is true, you are going to find that brown. Tony followed on to say, to have consistent change, there has to be an identity shift. The people who make change and then go back to how they were and then make change and then just seem to be going like this is because they do not have an identity shift within them. This was an important statement that he asked us to write down. The strongest force in human personality is the need to stay consistent with how we define ourselves. Say you are trying to finish something for a deadline, you've got some work to do, or you're trying to do something that you want to do, you've got this dream, you've got this goal, and you keep going to do it, but it doesn't get done. You keep going to do it and it doesn't get done. You keep going to do it, it doesn't get done, and you get let down. So instead of getting let down, you call yourself a procrastinator. Oh, it's not my fault. I'm just a procrastinator. It's just what I am. You've self-identified yourself and then you've self-prophesized yourself because for the rest of life now, you're a procrastinator. It's just what you do. It's just who you are. It just is what happens. He also used the example of, I'm not one of those. If you yourself, as a person, if I came up to you with a cigarette and said, hey, do you want one? Or if I came up to you and said, hi, do you have a cigarette? If you yourself don't smoke, or you had and you stopped and you've quit, what would you call yourself? Or what would you say about yourself? I'm not a smoker. I don't smoke. It's a new identity. Whereas he explained there's some people in life who, you know, they've quit smoking, but they're counting the days. Oh, I'm on a month of non-smoking. I'm on day 2 of not smoking. If you had an identity shift, why are you counting the days? You wouldn't be counting the days because it's just not who you are anymore. I'm a non-smoker. I don't smoke. The thing with our identities is that we make and create our identities when we're younger. Most of us, the identities that we have about ourselves, the I ams we have about ourselves, were made in our teen years, were made years ago, were made a completely different life ago, and they are not serving us today to be the person we need to be or want to be, to do the things, to help the people, to do the things we want to do. The identities that we have do not serve us for that. Tony gave us a metaphor, an analogy, and it's one of my favorite things to explain. I want you to imagine that there is a thermometer of temperature, and you yourself, in your house, you keep that thermometer at 68 degrees. That is your comfort zone. That is where you feel most comfortable. That is where you feel most relaxed. That is what you most know in your life, the 68 degrees. Now, I want you to imagine that 68 degrees is a metaphor for your life, for your relationships. Your relationships at 68 degrees, that is where you are comfortable. Your salary, your income at 68 degrees, that is where you feel comfortable. That fitness, that physique, that health, that wellness you have, 68%, that is you. That is where you feel good. That is where you feel confident. That is where you feel comfortable. Now, for some people, say in health or physique, I'm definitely one of them, 68 is where you're comfortable. But for some reason, you know, you're not putting in as much effort, and you know, it's Christmas, it's, you know, it's the holidays, it's your comfort, and that 68 degrees starts to lower. It starts to get a bit colder. It starts to get a bit chillier, you know, and you're putting on the pounds and you're not feeling too good to yourself. And it gets to a point, maybe in the 50s where you're like, whoa, hold up, Emily, this is not me. I'm a 68er. I'm not a 50er. This isn't where I feel comfortable. I do not feel okay here. I'm not fitting into my clothes. I cannot tie up my clothes around the waist. And I also need to pop them undone when I'm having some food because I'm feeling pretty uncomfortable. I need to do something about this. This is getting a bit out of hand. I'm 68 and I'm down here and this is not okay. We need to do something about it. That is our thermometer. There is a certain salary, there is a certain weight, there is a certain state in your relationships that you feel comfortable at, that you sit, and when you go below, you come back up. Now, the thing most people don't know is also when it gets too high, we come back down. We self-sabotage. We're in a relationship. It's a really good relationship and things are going really well in our business and we're feeling really good about ourselves and it's just getting better and better and better and better and something in us just clicks and goes, whoa, something can't be right here. I don't usually live up here. I'm a 68er. So we self-sabotage and we bring ourselves back down. That's connected to our identities. We identify ourselves as someone who is a 68. We need to change our identities so we're not self-sabotaging. All of us, when it comes to struggle, when it comes to being stuck, we have an internal battle going on. There's a core belief that is being battled with. What does your identity need to be for you to make a change in your life? Identity doesn't only shape how we look at ourselves, but how we look at other people. For example, you probably have someone in your life who is a joy to be around, who is lovable, who is maybe your spouse, your best friend, someone in your life who you just admire, love, adore. And one day they snap at you. They shout at you, or they talk to you not how they usually talk to you, or they give you a bit of a cold shoulder, or they just don't act how they normally act. What do you usually say about that? In that situation, what would you usually say about that person? Oh, they're just having a bad day. Because we have an identity for them. That's not usually like them. They're a nice person, they're a kind person. On the other side, there could be a person in your life who you've known, maybe not in your life now, who is manipulative, always out for themselves, don't really care about other people. And one day they come along to you and they are really, really nice to you. What do you say then? What do you want? Because your identity for them, they're not a nice person. They're mean, they're manipulative. Our identities shape the way that we look at situations, how we look at people, how we look at our relationships, how we look at businesses. That's why they're so important. Identities are what we believe about ourselves. And usually it is something that someone's told us that when we're younger, or, you know, you're not smart enough for this, or you're not enough for that, and you believe it yourself. But there are some people in life who, in childhood, they've been told they're not smart enough, they're not good looking enough, they're not this enough. And they've turned around and said, watch me. Watch me do it. Watch me do it twice. And there are those people in life who you believe are absolutely beautiful, who are kind, who are loving, who give themselves to everyone else, who are just these amazing human beings. And they don't believe that about themselves at all. So most of us do develop our identities way previously in our lifetime, and because other people told us we are something. And mainly these identities are reinforced, these identities are embedded into us because of what we do throughout our lives. Because we reinforce those identities, we self-prophesize those identities. So the best way to prove yourself wrong is to prove yourself wrong. If you think you can't do something, do it. Tony said his mentor, Jim Rohn, who is a very, very famous life coach, author, speaker, Jim said to Tony, everything you can't do, do it. And Tony said, well, I can't jump off a cliff, so should I do it? And Jim was like, oh, don't be silly. Everything you think that would make you a better human, a better man, a better husband, a better lover, a better whatever, if it would make you a better person, and you're saying you can't do it, Do it. Go and do it. Prove yourself wrong. He started to do everything that he believed he couldn't do and saw himself as a different person. Everything you say after everything you say after I am, if it is consistently, intensively, and emotionally enough, you will become it. Everything you say after I am. Tony asked us, how do you own a dog? How do you make a dog your own? You make your dog your own by giving it a name and making it come when you call it. And that's what identity is about. Giving ourselves a name and making sure it shows up when we need it. The first tool that Tony gave us is the 5 to Thrive. He said if someone isn't making any progress, this is usually where he goes. I want you to imagine a triangle, and in the middle is state. And state is important, we learned yesterday, because state is what we need to change. We have to be in a better state to become a better person. No one's gonna become a better person if they're like this. Oh, life is bad, life is poor. Like, you're never gonna get anywhere with that state. The fastest way to change your state is physiology. A change in body, a change in noise, a change in how you speak, a change in movement, you know? This is different to, this. This is different to, The fastest way to change your state is to move. Tony said, when should you change your physiology? When should you change your state? As soon as you feel it start to slip. You know, don't wait for it to be like a massive gorilla on top of the Empire State Building. Don't wait to kill that one. Kill the baby one. Oh, and now I'm thinking about killing baby gorillas. I don't want to kill baby gorillas. Think about aliens. Yeah, aliens. Let's think about aliens. Poor gorillas. Oh no. My poor brain. Okay, yes. Aliens. Kill the small aliens before the big aliens come and get you, you know? After physiology, we have what you focus on changes your state. Whether you focus on the good or the bad, whether you focus on the past or the present, whether you focus on the lack of something or the abundance of something, whether you focus on the people you're grateful for, whether you focus on moments that made you feel sexy or moments that made you laugh out loud till milk comes out your nose, what you focus on changes your state. And the third thing he said of the 5 to Thrive is language. How you use your language changes how you experience things. He told us a story about his mum, how his mum was always humiliated. Anything happened, she was always humiliated, because that was the only word that she would use in her dictionary. So she became humiliated. There is a difference between, I was stabbed in the back, and, you know, they just weren't that great, really. Language changes your state. Language changes your experience. The fourth thing on the 5 to Thrive, which I personally think is the most important, is to have a compelling future. Because you're not going to change your state, you're not going to change your physiology, you're not going to change your focus, you're not going to change your language if there's not anything to change it for. If you do not have a compelling future, it's like Tony said yesterday, you can get through awful todays if you know there's a better tomorrow. You need a compelling future. You need something to fight for. And the fifth thing on the 5 to Thrive is to constantly reinforce the new identity that you have for yourself. So that's physiology, focus, language, compelling future, and your identity, the 5 to Thrive. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video or found it useful, please subscribe. It honestly means the world to me. Like, comment in the comments, tell me what your favorite takeaway was, and hopefully I will see you soon with another video. I really appreciate you. Good night.